Yes, good. Greece has done that. Greece has, in the year 2005, beginning of 2006, Greek finance minister of the previous government tried to integrate, as you well know, a large part of our shadow economy in the official economy so as to raise the official GDP. And unfortunately, it was a huge backlash of that because our European credibility suffered a serious blow from that, which means that the figures that the finance ministry tended to integrate into the official economy was considered by Eurostat too big. If my memory is good, I think we were talking about a figure of 25% plus of the GDP, integrating things like prostitution services and stuff like that. And then there was a very severe, as I said, backlash because of the back and forth movement between our statistical authorities here, the Ministry of Economy, and Eurostat. That was not a good thing for our credibility, and especially that was also not a good thing for the EU structural deficits, which is my point of view, because everybody understood then, by this example, that the EU has no real protocols on the correction of figures by member states, and that was a huge blow. And I think we're paying this now. So, starting from that, I mean, is any country supposed to do that all by its own? How do you correct figures? Shouldn't there be a protocol, a model, something that is, I'm sorry to say, centrally imposed? Should we have any confidence in the legitimacy of our of member states' statistical authorities at all?
That's a very good question. I'm somewhat engaged in a also fierce and tough debate with Eurostat. I was several times there. I would use first, if I would be Prime Minister, I would say at the next meeting with the colleagues, Eurostat should estimate the size and development of the Greek shadow economy. They have good people, come and estimate it in these countries. They should do it. Maybe the research group with me should do it, and a few other people should do it. And then we make a tough scientific conference to see which one has the best figures. That would be my first thing, so that Eurostat doesn't. Italy did this, and Italy is now correcting their figures by 19%. So it's not that you can't do this, and also then you have to deal with these tricky questions that in the national accounts, in a lot of EU's countries, in the national account statistic, prostitution, which I think, maybe I'm crazy, you can jump on me, is a normal service, at least men demand it, mostly men demand it, And why shouldn't it be, it's a value added, people are satisfied, they pay for it, so why should it be a normal service like other service, like a massage, whatever, So, here we have a problem, and that was why they jumped on you, and they always take these tiny things and say, this is not included, and it's true, and this, but now it's a fierce debate in Sweden, for example. This is no category, so I can't compare it because it's not in all European Union countries. That would be one of the major tasks of Eurostat, to label this and then to come up with a measure. Either you exclude it in all countries or you include it in all countries, because you also have prostitution in Sweden. It's not so that Swedish men wouldn't demand this. And then one could say, put out alcohol, which Swedes or the Scandinavians are really on the top in consumption, because alcohol has more damage than good. So that I see your point very well. That is why I would do this really in such a way. But now I think you have the arguments on your side, because one justification now is, look at this high Greek shadow economy. This is responsible for almost everything. If they wouldn't have such a high shadow economy, everything would would be better. Yeah, and then I would say, okay, we have this, we will do something against this. Yeah, we can make concrete measures, but then we have to use correct figures. And if Italy does it, and in the Italian statistical book you find a note, and they even say, I was also invited several times by them, they have the discrepancy method, it's a different one, it's a different, yeah? But they have its own financial police where they can make very careful individual estimates. So in Italy, the financial policy can come to you and say, what is your name? You have to show some documentation, driver's license. And they look what nice sailing boat you have, what jewelry your wife wears in the opera, etc. And they have excellent estimators. And then they look what you declare. Yeah? And then if they see a huge discrepancy, that's the name. This can't be such a big sailing boat, so much jewelry, declaring so little, impossible. Yeah? And then they can make an inspection. So they have their method, and this method has as many weaknesses as my methods here, which I used. Yeah. So that, I think you are right, but in this situation, I would think one could do this. And what I don't understand, because I really think politically, for the financial markets, for all things, it would worthwhile be a try at least to get it done. Because this figure is certainly much stronger than every corrected figure by a shadow economy. Yeah? I'm most aware, doing now research about 30 years in this area, how difficult it is. Yeah? And I would, if I would be the government, I would only add 12, half of my estimate. Then I would be for sure on the safe side, so much is additional value added. Yeah? And if you would only add 30, you can make your calculus on if someone has a computer. If you add to your official GDP this year 30 million euros, yeah? Then I think you would come down below 10%. And that is something different than because now all is symbolized from your country on these two figures, these 13%, and from these two figures, and that is why I think this is wrong. All policy recommendations, all is coming from these two figures. Oh, look how bad they are leading, etc., etc. Huh? And I think this one should really also here in your country in the public debate always point to this wrong figure, yeah. So that small movement comes here. So that is a problem. In Europe, we have a problem. In a lot of other areas, also our national account statistics are not comparable. Yeah, and I think this should be one of the tasks of Eurostat to come up here, and it's the duty also of Eurostat to have the independent estimates so that one can make a check. But they don't do it. Eurostat, as I said, I had a long debate with them. I told them, you have very well-trained people. Why don't you make estimates? Oh, like I would beat them. I had a reaction. Yeah, no. This is not our. We only check. Yeah, I think this is wrong. If you make accusations, then you have to also prove this. Yeah, so here one should be much more offensive. If they say all is wrong what you're doing, then I would say, okay, here are my tables, make it better.